Hey everybody, this is Jason and you're watching Bobo and Bear Bust. Thank you for joining me. So today we've got an update on the retail apocalypse, and so far in 2019 it's basically continuing as we're seeing stores close more often than stores are being opened.
Now, ever since 2008 happened and we had this massive financial collapse, there's been a few voices in the wilderness screaming that, like, number one, we didn't fix shit, we kicked the can down the road. And number two, that we stood here and we're going to have a second coming. Now, one in particular is Peter Schiff, all right? Peter Schiff's always saying that the fucking sky is going to fall, all right? And he's right. You know what I mean? Like, legit, he just doesn't know how the fuck it's going to happen and when. You know, me personally, I predicted it'll be the bond market with the municipal bonds fucking collapsing due to, you know what I mean, the overwhelming fucking debt owed for pensions and, you know what I mean, school fucking funding, things of this nature. But recently, there's actually a presidential candidate, all right, who has come out and said that the United States is going to lose 30% of its jobs over the next 10 years, all right, by 2030, next 11 years. And he was on a Joe Rogan podcast here recently, and he has an idea on how to solve it. And so do a whole lot of other people. And so I gathered up a bunch of them, right? And we're going to go through and analyze what these individuals are talking about to fix the situation or something to put in place afterwards. And I'm going to explain why all their ideas are bad. I'm going to break them down. I'm going to stand here and bust them up. And then we're going to stand here and actually explain what has to happen in order to fix the situation. All right, let's get to it.
When you think that these jobs are going to be automated, and then universal basic income is going to supplement it's going to give them some money, $1,000 a month. But where do they go from there? I mean, how do people exist on $12,000 a year? Like, what do they do? Like, how do they adapt to this new world?
Right. So the first thing you have to do is you have to look at what lies ahead if we do nothing.
Right.
So the way it's going to play out is that self-driving trucks are slowly going to start hitting the highways. Amazon's testing them out right now. And the first stage is going to be that there's a human driver just sitting there as a fail-safe, and the truck's going to drive itself.
All right, full transparency. The reason why this is as important as it is to me is because I drive a fucking truck. All right, and I've already been automated out of fucking 4 different goddamn jobs to begin with. Secondly, this is not true. It's not about Amazon at the second. Amazon's testing them out, but they've been testing out beer loads out west for probably the past 3 years. All right, this is something that the trucking industry has been paying very, very fucking close attention to.
Now, my friends in Silicon Valley are working on teleoperators, which is, so the trucks have right now like a 98% accuracy level, which is not very high because you can't have 2% semi-trucks like running into things or like going up the roads. So the way they're trying to get the last percent or so is they're equipping trucks with teleoperating software, which means that a teleoperator in Nevada or Arizona will beam into the truck and just be able to see out the front like a video game. It's like drone operating, but instead it's a truck. And you beam in, and then you just steer the truck and tell the computer is like, I got it from here, and then you beam out. That's what they're working on to try and catch that last bit of uncertainty. So the innovations are happening, and again, Joe, we're talking about $168 billion a year. Like, everything becomes possible when you're looking at that much money. So in the absence of anyone doing anything, the robot trucks will start reducing shifts of various truckers, I would say 6 to 10 years from now. And so then there'll be a bunch of reactions. Now, trucking firms already have massive shortages. They can't find enough people. That's one reason why they're trying to automate this job as fast as they are.
And I'm going to tell you exactly why that is. It's because they're not fucking paying anybody. That's the goddamn reason why they don't have any fucking people. All right. They're having motherfuckers drive cross fucking country for $8 to $10 a fucking hour. Legit. All right, that's some real shit. Now they're working ridiculous amounts of fucking time, which adds up to like $40,000 a year, but they're not paying people. That's why they can't find no fucking drivers. It doesn't have to do with the fact that nobody wants to do the job. It's the fact they don't want to do the job for the fucking price that these goddamn trucking companies are fucking offering. And yeah, they'll give you a sign-on bonus. So they're like, oh, we'll give you $10,000, but it'll be stretched out over 2 fucking years on some dumb shit.
Because they're literally like, you know, they're short like a couple 100,000 truckers right now. And people don't want to go into this field for a variety of reasons. The main thing being it's like extraordinarily brutal on you physically. Very, very bad for your family life too, because you're away all the time.
Yeah.
Something like 88% of truckers have an early marker for chronic disease, like like substance abuse, diabetes, obesity, high blood pressure, something along those lines. And now people think that the job's going to disappear in the next 5 to 10 years, so you can't get people in. So if you play out what happens when the robot trucks start reducing shifts, then there'll be people trying to flee the field of trucking. And then if it becomes really dramatic where the robots start driving, let's say between Western Pennsylvania and Nevada, and then human beings get in those states and then take it the rest of the way, because the robots won't be reliable enough to drive in urban areas. They'll be reliable enough to drive on an interstate where they just have to make a few decisions. Then there'll be a massive depletion of truck driving opportunities. And then, in my mind, a lot of suicides, a lot of self-destruction. And I don't say that lightly. I say that based upon the fact that that's what happened to manufacturing workers. Mm-hmm. Where if you unpack what happened to the manufacturing workers of Michigan, Ohio, Indiana, suicide rates spiked to a point where now our life expectancy as a country has declined for the last 3 years because of suicides and drug overdoses. It's the first time that's happened since the great flu pandemic of 1918.
Now, this is another part I really wanted to touch on, and I think it's really important we have this fucking conversation, all right? If you really want to see what happens when manufacturing leaves, look at fucking Camden, Trenton, Cleveland, Cincinnati, Toledo, Columbus, Detroit, Chicago, Pittsburgh, Philadelphia, New York, Washington, D.C., and Baltimore, all right? When you take away good jobs from a fucking area, all right, legitimately in manufacturing jobs at that, family-sustaining motherfucking wage jobs, people become very, very violent. And he touched on earlier about fucking, you know what I mean, how, you know, the trucking affects your family. The reality is that 80% of fucking truck drivers have child support payments. It's either you get the fucking money or we're going to come with men with guns in their hands to take you to fucking jail. This is the same thing that happened in black neighborhoods. And they didn't have a way out, and neither will these fucking truckers. You're going to watch violence and crime spike to a level you've never fucking seen before from individuals who are actually heavily fucking armed. This guy is fucking speaking shit that I think he knows about, but I'm not absolutely sure if he knows how deep this fucking rabbit hole goes. And it's important that we understand where the fuck we're heading.
We are actually coming apart as a country by the numbers. So what happened to the manufacturing workers will then happen to the truckers, but at an even more dramatic scale. So you'll see truckers going home and drinking themselves to death, or doing drugs and overdosing or killing themselves. And then eventually there'll be an outbreak of violence because some truckers will say, instead of killing myself, how about I go bust up a robot truck? And there are already truckers that are doing things like blocking Tesla recharging stations at electronic vehicle battery stations because they don't like electronic trucks.
Sorta. Those are pickup trucks, though. Those are assholes. I mean, this is not like people doing it because they think that these Tesla recharge stations are taking jobs away. They're just being dickheads.
Exactly, Joe. So if you're going to be a dickhead, even though it really has nothing to do with you,
right?
Imagine when you actually think your livelihood's being threatened.
Right, good point.
Then you can see it getting revved up, you know, to like a much higher level.
Yeah.
Now, see, another part of this is the fact that a bunch of these fucking truckers became truckers because this is what they were told to do. These were individuals who were highly violent as fucking kids. These were people who were pretty accustomed to social isolation as a youngster. And they are the type of individual who is not doing well in society. All right. As a trucker, you spend a lot of time alone. A lot of fucking time alone. You will spend weeks inside of a box that's much smaller than a fucking jail cell is. And you're used to it. All right. And these individuals are very, very violent fucking people to begin with. You ask any trucking company how often they have to call the police to have a truck driver escorted out or some type of dispatcher protected for fucking with a driver. They'll tell you it's a regular goddamn thing. I remember many jobs they had where they had to hire fucking security guards, armed fucking guards, because somebody pissed off a fucking driver and the driver came in and beat the shit out of a fucking dude. This is a normal thing. These guys are fucking at their wits' end just to begin with. Legit, this guy's nailing some shit in the head right now.
So I'm running for president in large part because I think we need to get in front of this set of problems. We have to say, look, if we're going to save $168 billion a year, maybe some of that should go to the truckers and give them a soft landing. Maybe we should have this universal basic income where everyone feels like they're getting $1,000 a month, which is not a work replacement. It's not going to make their lives easy. They still need to work, but at least it takes the edge off. It takes like the existential threat off. And also their kids getting it. So they feel like, okay, my kid actually has some kind of path to the future. And it's not like if I lose this trucking job, not only am I going to, struggle and suffer, but my kid will too. So my plan as president is to install a trucker transition czar and say, look, it is your job to try and manage this transition for the 3.5 million truckers. And Joe, we haven't even talked about the 5 million Americans who work at truck stops, motels, diners, retail establishments, all the places where the truckers stop every day just to get out, eat a meal, and, live a life. I mean, if you imagine those communities when the trucks don't stop, there's going to be a drying up of economic vitality on a level that's unprecedented in many of these communities.
This is something that I'm just becoming aware of over the last year or two.
All right. As an emotional individual, as a person who is just a normal human being, I can feel this a lot. All right. I can get behind this fucking ideology. Legitimately. I really fucking can. But the bitch is that, on some serious shit, it doesn't work. Economically, this doesn't work in any way, shape, or form. So he's rebranding it as the freedom dividend. God, that's fucking, goddamn, fucking pain in the ass. Anyway, the freedom dividend, it's $1,000 a month. All right. And it's gonna cost us around $2 trillion a year. Now, the United States spends $5 trillion to begin with every year, right? And when we start talking about we only take in $4 trillion in tax receipts, that's a bit of an issue. Now we add $2 trillion on top of that. And God, in like 8 years, 7 years, we double the fucking deficit. Just starting off. All right. And he says, well, we're going to get this money back because this money goes back into the community and, people will spend it. It gets taxed and it's going to create jobs. And they've had all these individuals go through and do all this type of shit. And I'm going to tell you exactly what's going to happen with this money. All right. So what's going to happen is you're going to give everybody in America $1,000 a month. All right. And when you give them $1,000 a month, it's not enough to pay for shit. All right. And after a year, it's going to really be not enough to pay for shit because inflation's going to catch up from us printing all this fucking money because nobody's going to let us borrow $2 trillion. No one's going to buy $2 trillion in fucking treasury bonds. It's never going to happen. Now, this dude here is a closed borders type of guy. He's cool with like high-end immigration like his parents were, which I'm more than happy to take in high-end immigrants. But low-end immigrants, he understands, yeah, we got to have a strong border. All right, so he's not even economically viable, but he's going to try and drag the conversation towards UBI, move the Overton window towards this mentality. So what's going to happen with the money? All right, what's going to happen is individuals are just going to couple up and double up and triple up in fucking houses and shit. Go from $1,000 a month to $3,000 a month inside of a household. Individuals aren't going to fucking go and find jobs because there's not going to be any goddamn jobs. Everything's going to go up in fucking price and you're going to end up just inflating yourself out of fucking existence and we're going to have a financial collapse anyway. This is, we're pushing ourselves faster towards there. And on top of that, he's running on universal health care, the Medicare for All platform, which is another $3 trillion a year. Now, in order to understand the reason why universal health care doesn't work in America, you have to understand the Laffer Curve. All right, and the Laffer Curve basically says that if you collect more than 30% in taxes, you end up losing money. And I'm gonna tell you how this works. When I worked on a dock, all right, all the time, like I worked on many docks at many places, many warehouses, many fucking order selecting jobs. There was always a rule that you never worked any more than 10 hours overtime. And it wasn't because your employer didn't want to pay it, all right? Because your employer wanted you to work more time. They didn't give a fuck about paying you. The issue is that it just got eaten up in taxes. Now, I used to work jobs that you work 60, 70, 80 hours a fucking week. And I mean, like, legit, on some serious shit. I used to work fucking 12-hour shifts 5 days a week and then put in 2 more 12s on the fucking weekends. And you know, we'd work these ridiculous amount of hours, and you know, you come home with a paycheck for $3,000, but the bitch is you get $1,800 of it because the government taxed all your fucking money. So you just stop doing that, and that's what people always did, is you stop doing that. You end up, you know what I mean, fucking just fucking yourself in a tax receipt department. All right, because the Laffer Curve is real simple. You can't tax more than 30%. Right now, we basically tax at 34%. And when you get taxed, you're already at 34%. In order to make up another $3 trillion is what universal health care is going to cost in like a Medicare for All system. You're talking 68% in fucking taxes in order to pay for it. Plus the other $2 trillion for this UBI system. Yeah, we're just going to end up fucking in an inflationary death spiral that will make motherfucking, you know what I mean, Venezuela look like it's a nice place to live. That's really what the deal is. We'll end up being another Weimar Republic where you're wheeling $100 bills to the fucking into the store for a loaf of bread. That's what will happen if you have, you know, I mean, UBI and fucking universal health care here in America. Universal health care would be a little bit easier if the rest of the world would pick up the bill for some of their fucking prescriptions. And I mean, because we do all the R&D for the medical, for everything medical in the world, basically, really, because like, you know, the rest of the world has, you know, commie healthcare, so their healthcare doesn't allow them to be able to, you know what I mean, innovate. Where ours, we innovate all the fucking time, and we create most of the drugs and prescriptions and fucking procedures for the rest of the world. But they're not willing to pay for it because they have government to say, no, we're not going to pay for that. That's really what the situation is, and that's why our fucking health care is so goddamn expensive. That, and we continually take in fucking illegals. We have at least, and everybody says 10 million. We have 30 million motherfucking illegals in fucking America right now. And they're all using our fucking healthcare system on a regular basis, and none of them have fucking insurance. That's the truth. And that's reality of the fucking matter. So, with that being said, let's look at our next fucking candidate.
This question is for Stryker.
Oh boy. Here we go.
What drew you to racial socialism?
Well, do you guys have like...
Yeah, thank you. What drew me to racial socialism was the very fact. Listen, I believe that there are differences in people, just like acknowledging differences between peoples, acknowledging differences between genders. There's nothing wrong with that. But basically, having the real world teaches you. If you live in the United States and you live in a certain place where you know you're not in the majority, you're gonna feel like a minority. You're gonna act that way. That's kind of what happens to whites in California. You know, California has the most Nazi skinheads in all the country per capita, and that's because the whites are a minority and they act that way. It's that simple. Like you have to organize. So basically, the imperative, you know, kind of making peace with nature, but also retaining my love of social justice. You know, social justice is not about tranny bathrooms. Social justice is about bettering the average man, both economically but also spiritually. You know, being kind to people, being good to people, and, you know, securing the future for the next generation. You need a socialist society, and I don't mean socialist like, you know, necessarily like how it's used in some ways, but socialist in the sense that you have an understanding that you're part of something rather than an individual. You're not, you know, the problem in America that we have to struggle with, and it's not any pox on the house of the people that did it, but the American identity has always been the cowboy alone on the range, looking up at the stars, just him and the stars. obsolete.
Or
It's an
alone on,
obsolete way of thinking. Individualism is not going to get us. Those groups of people that think as collectives will inherit the world while individuals will perish. It's that simple.
Yes, I've fallen into some fucking YouTube holes over the past, few days. It is what it is. I ended up on some alt-right fucking Nazi shit, and I was like, dude, I gotta bring this to y'all because these fucking retards are fucking out here saying these things, and they seem to be popular enough that they're making money and staying sustainable on fucking YouTube. So let's address it, all right? First off, this motherfucker got interviewed by JF. You know what I'm saying? And on top of that, he's been on motherfucking the Ralph Retort. So, just so y'all know what the situation is. Look, here's the fucking deal. All right, legitimately, Nazism won't fucking work. All right, Nazism doesn't work. Socialism doesn't work. And I'm going to explain why socialism doesn't work as a white individual. All right? As a white person, the best parts about you are the fact that you have the ability to stand here and be independent-minded and have the opportunity to innovate and change and look at shit differently than other people do. Right? I mean, like every other person. And that's where the beauty of all fucking existence comes from. Like Picasso was, a mentally damaged individual, but the way he saw the world, he was able to portray it to us, and it was a very beautiful thing. That's kind of the way shit operates. All right, that's how human beings operate. And the best way to have things, like this guy says, the capitalism, is bad, and we should have socialism, we should have protections on individuals. Now, I agree that a government sets a motherfucking market. You know what I'm saying? That's what a government does. It's there, so we can all agree about what you are and are not allowed to do to make fucking money. And I will agree that we shouldn't be letting individuals stand here and destroy other people in the means of being able to fucking make money. All right? There should be fucking, there should be rules about things, okay? You shouldn't be selling heroin to fucking kids. There shouldn't be pedophilia fucking things. There shouldn't be, fucking a lot of shit, that fucking, we already have being illegal, okay? And that's what things are. We should have regulations on motherfucking the capitalist structure, because laissez-faire capitalism isn't a good way to go either. It shouldn't be let them eat cake, legitimately. But, we'll get more into, the solutions later on. But I wanted to explain why socialism and National Socialism, Nazism, racial socialism, no. All right? No. Because you know what? Black people are fucked the same way that y'all are fucked right now. They're just fucked in a different area where you can't fucking see them. It's just, everybody's in the same goddamn boat. And it's unnecessary to sit here and do all this bullshit. And we shouldn't be divided as a fucking country into different racial fucking groups and demographics, because things affect all of us at the same fucking time. It doesn't affect the same fucking tax brackets and ways that you earn a fucking living in the same fucking way. Some individuals are bulletproof. Some motherfuckers, are easily affected and automated out of existence. That's the real fucking difference. Let's look at the next goddamn contender.
Today is the day that we truly embark on a comprehensive agenda of economic, social, and racial justice in the United States of America.
Repeal the 19th. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't understand why this bitch is allowed to fucking be in charge of other goddamn people. Like, legitimately, like this. Okay, look, here's the deal, okay? You want to rebuild the entire United States. You want to stop all air traffic and build rails, high-speed rails across the country. You want to pay individuals not to work. You want to stop farting cows. You want everybody to go vegan. Just no. No. All right? No. Okay? You're fucking retarded. Next.
Look, to be totally honest, if things are so bad as you say with the white working class, don't you want to get new Americans in who aren't going to be? I'm serious. You can make a case that this is going on too long and this is too crazy, probably, and I hope this thing isn't being, like, videotaped or ever shown anywhere. Whatever tiny pathetic future I have is going to be totally collapsed. You can make a case that America has been great because every I think John Adams said this at the beginning, right? Basically, if you're in a free society, a capitalist society, after 2, 3, 4 generations of hard work, everyone becomes kind of decadent, lazy, spoiled, whatever. And then luckily, you have these waves of people coming in from Italy and Ireland and Russia and now Mexico who really want to work hard and really want to succeed and really want their kids to live better lives than them and aren't sort of clipping coupons or hoping that they can hang on, and meanwhile, we grew up as spoiled kids and so forth. So in that respect, I don't know why this moment is that different from the early 20th century or the mid-19th century.
Somebody else a chance to ask a question
at
this point.
Don't you want to rebut me briefly, though? You want to say,
No.
Okay, next. That's enough. I'll be quiet.
All right, so let me explain why it's your mentality's fucking retarded, okay? Now, when we broke the fucking Irish and Italians and fucking, Russians and Ukrainians, whatever the case might have been back in the fucking day, right? Like, here's the fucking deal. When we did this, right, we had work to do. We had to build an entire fucking society. The Irish, fought the Civil War and then built the fucking railroad. The Italians came in and helped build the fucking skylines in New York and LA and San Francisco and Atlanta and Miami and all those fucking places. And the Cubans came in and built all that shit. What do we have to build now? I'll wait. Nothing? Yeah, that's fucking right. There's goddamn nothing for them to fucking do. All you're doing is fucking standing here replacing one fucking group of individuals with another one because they cost fucking less. You're a fucking asshole, all right? Legitimately. Like, yo, you don't just go through and replace your goddamn people. We need to find an actual solution to this. Now, I wanted to download some videos for this one here, but I'll be honest with you. My video downloader ain't working, and I don't know what the fucking deal is, so we're just going to cover them real quick. Anarcho-capitalism, anarcho-communism, and democratic socialism. Well, technically, motherfucking Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez is a democratic socialist, so that'll tell you how much stuff they got in the pipeline for you. Anarcho anything is fucking retarded, okay? Like, look, government is a necessity, all right? You know why? Because the rest of the world, is out there, okay? And they will come and attack you and take your shit. Along with all you open borders, one world nation individuals who, I guess you're kind of part of that sovereign citizens movement type of deal, right? All these individuals here who think, we should just be one world people because, everybody's kind of the same and, nobody's different. It tends to be white liberal women who promote this and then white liberal men from California. You're all fucking retarded, and I hope all of you, end up like, catching cancer. That's legitimately where I get down to with you fucking retarded ass people. So, with that being said, okay, one world anything is terrible. You can't have open borders and still have your welfare state that you all love so fucking much. Which brings us to the solution to this fucking video, all right? All right, well, let's start with, first off, democracy's dumb. We've known democracy's dumb since the time of Socrates. Socrates stood here and said, look, you shouldn't have direct democracy or any type of democracy. You have to have individuals voting who have a stake in your fucking government. That's why everybody set up republics. This country is a republic. It's not a democracy. And the moment we started becoming a democracy and had universal suffrage for everybody, that's when things started going south. That's when we started building up a massive military, going to war all over the fucking world, and racking up massive amounts of fucking debt. Okay? Repealing, having the 19th Amendment was not a good idea. It should be net taxpayers who pay who end up having the opportunity to vote. Legitimately. And this isn't a fascist ideology. This is a republic ideology. You have the right to, elect your local leaders, and then your local leaders have the right to elect individuals to go represent you federally. That's how this works. And the reason why this works so fucking well is because you'll have 200 individuals on a local level electing, 150 individuals on a federal level. Now, what does that mean? That means that, in 50 states, you have 200 fucking people, just basic math. That's, I think, right around 10,000 individuals, who they would all have to pay off in order to get these motherfuckers to do what they want them to do. And you being on a local level, you're able to watch your local representative to make sure that, you know what I mean, he's doing what you told him to do, and the individual that he fucking elected or the individual that he put in is the individual who, you know what I mean, you would want to represent your fucking state and do your state's bidding. A strong family makes a strong community, makes a strong state, makes a strong motherfucking nation. That's how this works. It's a fucking bottom-up philosophy. All right, and it's a top-down philosophy, and it gets locked in properly. That's why it was set up this way. But we decided that that's not a good way to do things because, you know, we didn't like the way that the federal government was being run in the fucking moment. Instead of standing here and voting out all the bums locally, you ended up, you know, keeping all, you know what I mean, standing here having the individuals go, well, we know better than our state senators do. It's dumb, it's bad, you know what I mean? And this is why the hell shit is not working the way it's supposed to, all right? It's universal suffrage that destroyed this fucking nation. And in order to fix it, we had to repeal universal suffrage. And I personally think there should be a tax, a way to tax this, a way to have a tax structure. Like, say, you pay 10% of your wages, all right? So you'll get, you know, I mean, half a vote, or, you know, I mean, a quarter of a vote. If you pay 20%, you get half a vote. You know, if you pay 30% of your taxes, you get a full fucking vote. That's, you know, I mean, the way it should be done. You know, I mean, your stake in the fucking nation is the, you know, I mean, is your way to get into the fucking voting. You know, I mean, that's legitimately how it works, and it shouldn't be, you know, I mean, based on, you know, I mean, how much money. It should be based on a percentage of your money that you fucking pay in every goddamn year. You know what I mean? And there shouldn't be any bullshit with any fucking tax write-offs or anything like this. Like, everybody should pay 10%, so everyone gets, you know what I mean, a quarter of your fucking, you know, you get a quarter of a fucking vote. And individuals who want to be active politically and have the right to rule over society should pay fucking more. You know what I mean? Because you have more of a stake in your society. And, you know what I mean? That's the reason why ANCAPs are fucking retarded. Like, look, a government's a necessary fucking evil. It is what it is. You know what I mean? And of course, you're going to do things that you don't like from time to time. And, you know what I mean? You're going to do things that they don't like from time to time. That's how the hell fucking government works. It's all a compromise so that we can all live in a better fucking place and have our kids raised in a better manner in which we were raised. That's how this shit should be set up. But it's never going to go back to that until this whole thing falls down first. It is what it is. But in the meantime, you know what I'm saying? Yo, this is Tom Pease with Pinoy fucking News. Yo, like, share, and subscribe. Hit that motherfucking, you know what I mean? Hit that goddamn notification bell. Hey, you know what I mean? Thank you for fucking watching. Y'all know the deal. Peace. What up, what up, what up, man? Listen, home, by popular demand, Pinoy's now selling merch. Man, look here, all right? We got 3 designs. We got the Pinoy Gorilla regular avatar. We have the Red Dead Redemption. And on top of that, man, listen, we got motherfucking Angry Gorilla, all right? We got t-shirts. We have onesies for your baby. Take your baby and turn it into a baby gorilla. On top of that, we got pillows. Come cuddle up with the gorilla. And on top of that, we got cell phones and mugs. Cop you some merch right now.